So I think we will get started then, and hopefully some more people should come in while we're in the intro. So let's get started. So this is a workshop called How to Sell Your Soul, and it's all about fulfilling your purpose without sacrificing your passion. So if you are starting your career in the music industry, you'll obviously want to be able to develop what you love so dearly and be able to network and make sure that you're getting the right connections at the right time to make sure that you can take steps to accelerate your career. So I think we'll just leave it another 2 minutes and then hopefully we'll get started very soon. So I run Sass and Snarl. Sass and Snarl is a platform where I have built a community of young creatives in the music industry. And what we do is we develop the next generation going into the music industry by showing them how to invest not only in their future through personal growth and career development, but also the future of the music industry. So a little bit about myself. I have an unhealthy obsession with social media. I think that most people now do, but I think I take it to that next level, and you'll find out in a few minutes why. So I also am a second year music business student here at the University of Gloucestershire, and I have been running the media festival today. So if you've attended some of the panels, thank you so much. They've been absolutely amazing, and I honestly can't wait to bring more discussions on the lack of representation in the music industry up again. A little bonus is C6 Steve calls me Kick-Ass Keely. If I could put that on my CV, I would. It's something quite important to me to be able to connect with musicians and be able to be a part of the music industry and most importantly, connect with women. So this is my favorite slide of probably the whole presentation, and is all about when you tell your parents or relatives or just friends or family and you go, I want to be in the music industry, and they give you that face of, really, sure you don't want to be a doctor? And you tell yourself and are constantly telling yourself, you know, this is a good idea, this is what I should be doing. And yes, sometimes it is quite hard to battle with when you've got friends and family all being really successful and you're still trying to fight to get through the gender divide and to make a name for yourself in the music industry. So yeah, if anyone can relate to that, this is the presentation for you. So to start, we are going to do the first section called A Healthy Dose of Reality. And I always call it a healthy dose because I'm not going to bombard you with all the really depressing statistics. A few, but not a lot. And when you get into the music industry and you're a woman or you are of a different race or you're a minority, then you do have to face a lack of representation and diversity. And it's something that can hit us all quite hard that we don't really realise will happen. So as I said, here's a few of those statistics. I'm not going to read them out to you. If you want, you can just go through them. So I started my journey in the music industry as a journalist, and I was running around Manchester as you do. And every night I had a different gig and I was interviewing the artists and the managers and absolutely anyone I could talk to. And I quickly realized, you know, the photographers I was working with were male. The artists I was interviewing were male. I think I interviewed one female band, and quickly realized that I was being consumed of all the things I love, but couldn't really see something that was inspiring to me. And as it says, it's hard to be what you can't see. And it definitely put me off a little bit. So this is why I started Sass and Snarl, to build a community where we can inspire each other, and to also do panels like this where we can bring some incredible women and talent in to be able to show you what you're made of and get running in the music industry. So a lot of me talking, and I know that isn't that much fun. And if you've been for the panels all day, you will be completely shredded with all these panels and like words and all that kind of stuff. If you can tell, I'm a bit like that now, even though it's been amazing. But I like to leave little times and little 5 minutes for activities. So as we were just saying, there's a lot we can be doing to combat and take action against the lack of diversity in the music industry. One of them is seeing what you can do as an individual. And I think this is so important. And I look at it similarly to how you look at the environment. It is all those oil companies, and you know, everything is wrong with those major companies that are ruining the planet and putting oil in the ocean and all that kind of stuff. But we still have to recycle, and we still have to use plastic straws. Not use plastic straws. Oh God, don't use plastic straws. So what can you do as an individual? So think about your daily lifestyle. The playlists you listen to, are they 50-50? Have you got a huge roster of women when you're promoting your own gigs? Are you surrounded and men 50-50? And if not, what changes can you make? Can you add more music to your playlist so you are listening to more women? Can you share music of women in the industry? And yeah, so I'm going to give you 5 minutes for that. I normally put music on, but that's just one of the things that Teams is not going to let me do. So I really hope you enjoy just writing down these notes and figuring out what you can do to make a change. It's also great. I normally do this in my workshops that I run with Sass and Snarl. If you want to put something in the chat, it's great to share what your thoughts are and give advice to others and get that conversation going. So if you have any clues or ideas, make sure you drop them in the chat. So I think we'll move on just because we started a bit late and we have a lot to get through. We're going to go on to the second section of how to sell your soul. And I think this is pretty important. And this is what we all initially get into music because of, where we make curiosity the priority. And if you've ever heard of Emma Gannon, she runs a podcast and a blog and is an author. She coined the term multi-hyphenate. So I'm pretty sure, you know, in the music industry, we are all very talented at different things. So not only are you an artist manager, but you're also a graphic designer, you're also a website designer, you also are a social media manager, these things at once without jobs. And this is basically what multi-hyphenate means. It means we do all these things all at once and we're just following what we're curious about. And I think the perfect example of that is, of course, Rihanna. Obviously, her incredible music career. Who could forget that? And also her work with Fenty makeup and her underwear line and her designer fashion line, which is absolutely incredible. I'm sure you've all seen the runways that she's been doing. So this really shows, you know, Rihanna's incredibly talented, but she's following what she's curious about. And that's how she's making a name for herself. She goes, you know, I love music, you know, I love makeup and I love the art of it. So I'm going to create my own makeup line because I also want to show diversity in makeup. And then also being all about making women confident in their own bodies. she does a lot of different things, and that's because she's curious about them. And I think even though we all can't be Rihanna, this is something we should all take and we should all use with us every single day. So I went to a workshop a few months ago, and this is something that really stood out to me. And it was the marketing director of Refinery, and I got to ask her a few questions. And because I was contemplating what I wanted to do in the future, she said, these are the 4 things, the 4 tick boxes you need to look at when you are creating your own career and you're building your network and you're creating a name for yourself. To be happy and to be successful, these are the things you have to follow. So the first is obviously continuous learning. And I think we can do that no matter what. That could be networking, you learning about how to meet people and connect with them on a more personal side and bringing that into business. Could also be you're in management and you want to go into marketing, you can completely change what you're learning about. Or you could just make it more personal. Followed onto that is meaningful work. Obviously stems from what you're passionate about. So if you're passionate about, as I was talking about with Rihanna, you know, making women feel confident in their own bodies, that's meaningful work, and that's what she's doing, and she's created a very successful brand out of that. Next onto that is positive impact. You know, none of us want to have a negative impact into the world. So if you're passionate like I am about gender diversity and the music industry, that's what I'm aiming at, to make a positive impact. And I think everyone can do that, and everyone can use that to make sure that they're happy and, you know, keeping that career goals and all that stuff. So next is room for you. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, you can't work 24/7. I feel like we all do. And especially in the creative industries, there's just no time to stop. We're all working weekends. But you do have to find room for you, because even though we all love music and we all love listening to music and going to gigs, as soon as you work in it, it's not passion anymore, it's not fun anymore, it's work. And that's quite hard to avoid. So always finding room for you. So as I said, I do talk a lot. So this is the next activity. And it's just a really simple one. What are you curious about? And don't just put music full stop, because there's so much into music. And that's the first thing I realized when I got into this industry, is that even though I was starting out as a journalist, there's so many other ways I could take that. I could take that through photography. I could take that as magazines, or I could take it, or you could do so much with it that the possibilities are endless. So what are you curious about? So again, I'll leave 5 minutes for that, and then we'll get going. So I think we'll move on. It's not really hard to think about what you love. So obviously you're so excited about what possibilities you can have and what you're curious about, so excited to start out in the music industry and get going and meet people and start your career. And then you get hit with rejection, and it's something we can't avoid, and to be honest, it's something we should expect, but never be afraid of it. So I always use the example of emails as my first go-to. The first hit you get with getting rejected, other than boys and girls, but like, is when you send an email and they never get back to you and they full on ghost you, and there's literally nothing you can do about it. So dealing with not being scared of rejection is actually quite important. And you have to realize that sometimes it's just going to happen. People are busy. You know, if someone's not getting back to your emails, they're busy. What value did you actually give to them? How many times have you sent an email going, I'd love to work for you, or I'd love to do this with you, but that has absolutely no value to them because you're only just starting out. And realistically, when you're only starting out, you kind of got to make it for yourself. So yeah, don't be scared of rejection. Everybody gets it. Everybody can laugh at it. And, you know, there's always ways to go around it, and there's always ways to fight against it. So as we were just talking about, there's another quick activity. This one's just going to be super quick. Write down what you are scared of getting rejected from. That could be you want to become an artist manager and you want to reach out to this band that you really want to manage, and you're scared that they're going to say no because there's so much hell bent on it. Or it could be you want to become a journalist, but bands don't want you to interview them because you've not had an experience. Or you want to be in radio and you're sending off all these applications to work at local radio stations and none of them get back to you. But write down what you're scared of getting rejected from, and then when you're actually going to do it. Just the whole point in this is just do it. There's absolutely no harm in not getting an email back. I can't tell you the amount of times I have sent an email to someone that is literally like way too high above what I am, and they've said yes. For example, when I started my platform, Sass and Snarl, I had 100 followers out of people I literally messaged from primary school to follow because I was that desperate. And I reached out to so many different people going, please can I interview? Can we do an Instagram live? I could really use it for my platform. And my first ever interview was with a lovely, lovely, lovely woman called Priya. And she runs Bambi Nails. And if you don't know Bambi Nails, basically look at everybody at the Brits. So Little Mix, she does the nails for Little Mix, Mabel, Georgia Smith, basically everybody that was at the Brits. But I reached out to her because I adore her, and she had 80k followers, and I had 100, and I wanted to do an Instagram live with her, and so I reached out and was like, this is just like, I'm not getting anything back. Literally 2 seconds later, would love to do that. When? I was like, really? But you just got someone like Priya, who's got 80k followers and I have 100. And she still say yes. And she tells me about the time she did Serena Williams' nails for Wimbledon just because someone asked her to do it. Like, you know, you can try absolutely anything and maybe you will get there. So yeah, think about who you're scared of getting rejected from. Could be a DM, could be an email, could be applying for a job, and when you're going to do it, preferably soon. So yeah, I'll just leave another 2 minutes and then we'll get straight back. Again, I normally put music on, but so there's this awkward silence. But yeah, if you come to our workshops in the future, we'll have a killer playlist, so don't miss that. So, yeah. Sorry. Always have to drink during these things. My throat, if anyone's in the panel today, my throat just goes so dry. But yeah, I hope you've got something that's either quite big. I hope you've got something that's like so big that it's like scary and you actually might be a little bit scared of doing it because you don't want to get rejected, but they're the best ones. So moving on to the next section of the workshop. Obviously, this workshop is normally an hour and a half. So this is like the best hits kind of album kind of thing. So yeah, it's a bit condensed and we don't have the normal music. So yeah, but still so much content and so much notes you can be making, and I hope you've all been keeping up so far. So good things come to those that get shit done. Your rep isn't going to build overnight, unfortunately, and this is a thing I came to terms with last year at university. So I got to university thinking my degree will get me everywhere. I was so wrong, and thinking that I was literally the worst of the bunch. I looked at my entire lecture and my class and was literally just like, these people are all so much better than me. They all have this experience and they're working in this and they know this person and all that kind of stuff. I was just like, I'm literally nothing compared to all of them. They all have such good reputations already, and I'm known for being a tiny journalist in Manchester. So kind of wanted to combat that. And this is where I literally wrote in my notes just over a year ago, 11 o'clock at night, that I wanted to create a blog again because I was, as I just said, I'm a journalist and I hadn't done a blog in something like a year or two and really wanted to get back at it. And that was the name I gave it because I think it's cool and it served me well. But yeah, I wanted to create Sass and Snarl as a blog and get back at interviewing bands because that's what I know I'm good at. And yeah, it sat in my notes from the 15th of October till the 15th of May, the day I launched. And it quickly dawned on me that good things come to those that get shit done, because I gave myself a week to launch. I got so fed up of not having anything, of not doing anything, of being the shit one at uni. And yeah, I was so fed up of it and was like, I know no one. I'm losing my passion because I'm not doing anything to serve it. So I gave myself a week to create a website, branding, a whole ethos to get people to follow, and to get some things to start us up, like interviews and like a few articles already. Gave myself a week. But it basically left no time for self-doubt. It left no time for me to go, what am I doing? And instead I just got on with it. And I've now been running for 6 or 7 months. We have 2,000 followers, which I know is quite tiny, but I'm so proud of it and it served me well. If I didn't have that, most of the people on the panels today wouldn't have been there because I wouldn't have known them. So yeah, and I think when I started out, this is something I did and it really, really hit me. So what have you done versus what you want to do? So as I said, a year ago, I was a journalist in Manchester and that was it. And I was a tiny journalist in Manchester. And what I wanted to do was so many things. I wanted to start up my own side hustle. I wanted to start doing workshops like this. I started wanting to network and be part of organizations in the music industry. And it all just seemed so far away and that I couldn't really do that. And it just hit me like, well, if I can't do that now, when am I going to be able to? So it was quite depressing. But now I have this as my little template. So I have started my own platform. As I said, it's quite a tiny community, but it's a special one to me and it has served me well so far. I've also run my own blog, as I said, Journalist in Manchester, and I play guitar with some of my idols, which I always like to use to impress people, kind of like name drop. But yeah, that's about it. But what I want to do, this list could go on for ages. I want to work abroad. Like, I'd love to be able to go to Stockholm and work in Stockholm for a year. Like, that would be absolutely incredible. Obviously not now, but maybe in the future. I am obsessed with printed magazines. The story I always tell is I am so obsessed with printed magazines since I was a child that in my bedroom I had a little shared bathroom which had a shower, and that shower didn't get used. Not that I was like dirty, but didn't get used. And instead, it was literally full to the brim, top to bottom. You literally couldn't even stand in it, of magazines, because I collected them, like read through them, and then chucked them in the shower. And yeah, hoarded all these magazines. But I do love them, and it's always been a passion of mine. And the last one is Sass and Snarl networking events. Something I've wanted to do for a very long time. It's just that the world doesn't want me to. But hopefully next year we'll be sorting that out, and it'll be in Manchester, and it'll be at Feel Good Club. If nobody knows what that is, you should know. But yeah, hoping to get that started next year, but we will see. So this is the next part of the little activity. I've just spoken for a very long time about showers and magazines. So write down what you have done versus what you want to do. And remember, what you want to do should be 10 times as long as what you have done. Don't be scared if it's like 5 things that you've done and you've got 20 that you want to do, because that's normal. And hopefully it does give you that shock that I had last year where you just want to start something there and then. So yeah, as I said, normally in my workshops that I run with Sass and Snarl, we have a chat or a Q&A. So if you want to type up what you have done versus what you want to do, I find it so useful when I'm in workshops and I write down, I want to do Sass and Snarl networking events, or I want to build my own printed magazine. And then a photographer or a graphic designer come and be like, I can help you with that. So always bear that in mind. Always reach out, always self-promote. Don't be afraid of people being like, I don't know. But yeah, put down what you want to do, and you never know what might happen. And also, if you have any questions, put them in the Q&A. I know I've gone quite fast through all of this, but yeah, it all should be good. So between what you have done versus what you want to do is obviously what you were doing. And if you remember at the start, I said I was obsessed. I had an unhealthy obsession with social media. Here's where I prove that. Obviously, a lot of what we do at the minute is we spend a lot of time on our phones. And this is where I invite you to make the awful discovery I made when I was making this workshop, where you look at your hourly time on your phone. So on average, I spend 8 hours a day on my phone, which is awful, and I know it's awful. But it didn't seem that bad when I first read it. It didn't seem that bad. It's then when I realised that's 120 days out of my year that I spend on my phone. You also got to think I probably spend about 6 or 7 hours asleep. So what am I doing for the rest of the day? Obviously, I don't know how I get things done. But yeah, I spend so much time on my phone, and it's really hard to think if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah, I normally do this in our workshops, where I ask you to put how much time you spend on your phone, and then that makes me feel a little bit better, because one time I think the highest I've got is 10 hours. Someone spends 10 hours on their phone. But yeah, I can't judge. But yeah, it's quite a big thing, and it's quite a thing that we're all kind of used to now. But I look at my phone, right, and my life is spent on Instagram because I run Sass and Snarl. I'm creating constant content. That's quite hard to say, isn't it? But I'm creating a lot of content for it. But I'm also networking, so I use the dots, which I'll speak about a bit later, and a lot of other things as well to get my point across. and to research and to connect and to do a lot of things, as well as use Pinterest to make a lot of Pinterest boards and a lot of playlists on Spotify. So yeah, please look at how much time and evaluate it, because sometimes you just need to cut some stuff out. But yeah, so I really hope you think about what you can do in the future and how your lifestyle is a huge part of that, and how you can just make simple changes and it can completely change everything. So this is one of the last sections of the workshop, and it's called the Ultimate No Nonsense Guide, because I like to think I'm quite straight talking. I don't know. But it's learning to communicate your passion. And this is a term I use for myself quite a lot because I do it quite a lot. But stop being fluffy. I know it sounds a bit weird. There was a picture of a really fluffy rabbit here once. I got rid of it. But it means like an area filled with nothing. And when I started Sass and Snarl, I was posting content that is the definition of fluffy. A pretty pink picture with the simplest caption, and it meant absolutely nothing. As I was saying before, it had no positive impact. It wasn't meaningful work. It wasn't teaching anyone anything. It was just fluffy. And the worst part is when you realise you do that in a lot of other things as well. So pretty sure we can all relate, but university assignments, as well as emails, as well as oh my god, especially our CVs. I think we can all relate to that, where we just make it light and airy, it's all happy, it's all good, but it means absolutely nothing. So ways I combat that is using your 3 pillars, which is something when you're doing branding is quite common. So obviously you have the 3 panels. The biggest one is what you should strive for most. So with Sass and Snarl, I want to support young creatives. I want to not only support them, but like develop alongside them and build a community. So it's all about supporting each other, sharing each other's work, giving a platform to these young creatives. And yeah, that's the most important thing to me. The second little pillar is the push for equality in our industry, because obviously this whole panel today, you can see why. It's quite important that we need to start taking action against the lack of representation in our industry. And the third little pillar is building a community and network. Obviously, I told you before, I have a healthy obsession with social media, and building a network and communication comes under that, because I'm just so obsessed with talking to people, getting to know people, and promoting myself and getting myself out there. Kind of become a bit addicted to it. So yeah, what are your 3 pillars? You can use this in your assignments, you can use this in your emails. It's basically just 3 bullet points of what you need to get across, but it's so simple to kind of adjust and make sure that you're not putting out fluffy content into your work or into your networking. And once you do that, you realize that purpose and passion equals value. And value is something that we all want, it's something we all need. And this is all about obviously how to sell your soul. So selling your soul, obviously, is not a deal with the devil. That's not what I'm trying to teach you. But sometimes being in the music industry, it can feel like that. And where you lose your passion and it's all gone and you're just like, why am I doing this? This sucks. But it's also once you learn how to sell your soul, sounds similar, doesn't it? But it's all about communicating your passion and making that a priority. So if you have a purpose, that's how you can communicate. And if you have passion in what you're doing and you don't lose that and you find a way through all these points I've just spoken you through, where you find something meaningful to work at, or you're making a positive impact and you still have room for you and you're continuously learning, they're honestly so important, then you will still keep your passion. So purpose, not being fluffy, plus passion, knowing what you want and knowing how to follow your curiosity equals value. So that's what we all want. And as soon as we find that out, we can be like Lizzo. I love this picture, and this is quite a really bad joke, but that's me. So obviously blow your own trumpet, blow your own flute. I know it's really bad, makes me cringe every time. But yeah, learning to blow your own trumpet, learning how to self-promote without feeling like a dick. Like, you're putting yourself out there. You have to be in the music industry. You have to put yourself out there. Nobody's going to come and get you. Unfortunately, nobody cares about your dreams more than you do. And it's quite something we all have to face up to. But that means we should just become more confident in ourselves, and we should strive for better, not only in the music industry, but also for our future and our internal growth. That makes me sound like some kind of yoga teacher, doesn't it? But really striving to make a better world and a better you. So blow that trumpet / flute and make sure that everybody knows who you are and make sure it's a good thing. So the last section is called It's All About You, McFly reference. I couldn't leave it out. I love McFly. This is a music workshop. Couldn't leave it out. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about McFly anymore. So yeah, it's all about you. As I just said, you need to blow your own trumpet. You need to be able to put yourself out there, and you need to make it all about you because nobody cares more than you do. So yeah, but it also often leads up to this happening where you're having to comfort yourself because you got rejected. And as I said, we're all going to face rejection. We should expect it, but we should not be scared of it. But you'll still have those times where you'll feel upset about something or things won't go your way, and you need to comfort yourself. And a way you can do that is by self-promotion and sharing what you have achieved and being proud of what you have achieved. And I think that's something we all struggle with at the minute, especially with imposter syndrome becoming quite a big topic. And I'm telling you now, every single person in those two panels will have experienced some kind of imposter syndrome or some kind of lack of motivation or confidence. And they still have to put themselves out there and show what they have achieved and be proud of it, and then go on to the next thing to achieve even more. So a way you can self-promote, the easiest way to self-promote is to share what you have achieved. For example, with this panel today, I've been really delighted that I've been able to help curate the panels and bring these workshops. And I'm hoping you're loving Mark's workshop and Fraser's workshop at the minute. I know they'll be absolutely incredible. But that's something I think I have achieved, being part of this, bringing people in and making sure today runs okay, which it has done. So then putting that on my socials. It's literally everywhere. You can't avoid it. I've had my latest LinkedIn brag, which is something I barely do, but I know it's important, so I do it. And you'll be surprised how many people get back to you and want to support you. Because once someone sees you supporting yourself, they'll also want to support you. My favorite kind of story to tell, which always kind of relates to this, is a story about Chris Rock. He was in his car and he was driving down the motorway, and his car broke down. He pulled to the side and he just had to wait by the side, calling people to get them to come help, see if they'd pull over and help him, shouting at people, waving. Nothing. Everyone just drove past, completely ignored him. It was only as soon as he got behind his car and started pushing that people then went to the side and was like, do you need any help? And I think that's so important to remember. When people see you supporting yourself, they'll also want to support you, which is a little bit crap during social media because, we all can't support ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we just want to wallow and cry and feel like the world is ending. But as soon as someone does see that, that's going to want to help. They're going to want to help you. So, and what I also think is quite important is what has someone else achieved and how will you share that? Because if you're sharing other people's work, that's the best way to self-promote. The best way to self-promote is to support others, basically. And with that, you're getting this connection with that person. They could collaborate with you. They can then put you in touch with someone else. It's all about supporting each other, especially now, especially as we're going into the next lockdown. And we're going to be doing a lot more Zoom and Teams webinars like this. It's important to share and to be active and be a role model to not only yourself but everyone else, and to put that talent out there. So I've spoken quite a long time. So if you want just another 2 minutes, write down what you have achieved and how you will share that, what someone else has achieved and how you will share that as well. I'm telling you now, it really makes a difference. And as soon as you start promoting yourself and promoting everyone else, you'll start making your way up that ladder. Now, I'm going to skip past just for time reasons, just because I know we're coming to the end. But yeah, if you've been making notes, you can always return to it later. So these are the ways how I'm sharing what other people have achieved and what I love, and supporting other people. I don't think any of these people are going to support me because I don't think they'll see this. But yeah, I always like to share what I love and what I'm interested in. So top left is Chica. She is my favorite artist at the minute and has been for a few months now. Her NPR Tiny Desk is absolutely incredible. I first got into Chica from her Industry Games EP, which is all about the music industry and how it is like a game, obviously, and how we should start making changes, obviously not to ourselves, but also to the music industry. And she's just so sick. And I normally have her in the background of all those activities to mute that awkward silence. But absolutely incredible. Definitely recommend. Couldn't get away with a music recommendation in this. And then Brittany Packnett is one of my favourite speakers. She was recently featured in Vogue, and how to build your confidence TED talk is absolutely amazing. One of the quotes I always think of hers is, "We should build a world that isn't intimidated when it shows up as a woman or anything that isn't our preferred type of leadership." And I always remember that, and I'm always like, that's what I'm doing with Sass and Snarl. That's what I'm doing with this workshop. I'm not individually building a world, but definitely fighting against that stereotype and the lack of diversity. So yeah, check her out. You'll be completely inspired and motivated. Trust me. The Dots is another one. I mentioned before that I love networking, and the Dots is the place to be if you're a bit scared of LinkedIn like I was a few months ago. The Dots is where you should start. It's really simple. I just had a workshop last week actually with Pippa, who is the founder of the Dots, and it's all about the creative industries and putting yourself out there. My favourite part of the Dots is you have the ability to ask a question. So, as I said, I love printed magazines. So I put out, really want to start a printed magazine about blah, blah, blah. Is anyone interested in collaborating with me? I think I got 60 replies from graphic designers, photographers, journalists, all going, yeah, I love that idea. I want to help. I want to join in. And you can't get that, especially nowadays when we're all trapped inside. It's definitely the place to be. They have so many events, there's so many jobs on there as well, specific to the creative industries. So you can also build your own company pages and your profiles and put projects and events, and yeah, promote yourself for it. So absolutely adore the Dots. Everyone should have it. Next is Key Change. I'm so excited that we had a few members of Key Change, or a few organisations that signed Key Change's pledge today, that I am so proud of myself that I managed to get some of them on the panel, because I think they're absolutely incredible and they're really inspiring, and then we should all take a leaf out of their book and use that in our lifestyle, as I was talking about at the beginning. Next is Emma Gannon with that podcast, where she talks about being a multi-hyphenate, and she interviews some really incredible people in lots of different industries and lots of different lifestyles, and talks about their work, how they got there, and how they follow what they're curious about. Then is North Last, who is a printed magazine. Obviously couldn't get away without a printed magazine. I was really lucky to be featured in their magazine earlier this year once I launched Sass and Snarl. Again, this is one of those things, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I reached out to them, fully expecting to get rejected or not hear anything back. And they were so lovely to actually feature me in their magazine. Yeah, love North Last, all about championing women of the North, because it's not so grim up north. And lastly, Bright Network. If you are a university student and you're not part of Bright Network, not really now, but they put on so many networking events where you can get in touch with different members of the music industry and different creative industries. Always a fan of them. Definitely sign up. It'll be really useful. And this is one of our last slides. So this is a recap of what you need to fulfill your purpose but not sacrifice your passion. Always carry a healthy dose of reality. Not so much that you're going to get bogged down by it, but always remember, there are hardships in this. For me, it's the gender inequality in our industry, and I know I've already experienced it, and I've already seen friends experience it, and I know that I always need to remember that, but don't let it consume me. And get shit done. Simple as that, really. You're not going to build your reputation without going out there and having a portfolio of amazing things you've done. Making curiosity a priority. Again, if you want to get things done, do at least what you're curious about. Then you'll never feel that passion go, because you're always going to want to learn new things and make a positive impact. Next, no nonsense. Make sure when you are getting in touch with emails, you're not sending like 4-paragraph emails. Like, not 4 paragraphs, that's quite a normal amount, but like not really long emails. If it can be really simple and it can be really direct, make sure it always is. Same with your CV, same with if you're putting out content or you're doing any type of branding or anything like that, make sure it's direct. And it's all about you. You're here today to learn how to become an ally in the music industry, and also to invest in your future and the future of the music industry. So yeah, make sure everything you do is all about you. And I think that is it. So thank you all for coming. This has been quite a weird day with all the panels and stuff, and not having my normal setup for our workshops. But I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you enjoyed this, we do have the full version of the How to Sell Your Soul workshop. But I think this is it pretty much all compiled together. So make sure you're following Sass and Snarl on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, the dots, LinkedIn, literally everything. Whatever platform you use, we will be on, but mainly Instagram. So yeah, keep up with what we're doing, and I hope you will have a lovely evening, day, and rest of the week, and that lockdown isn't too harsh on you. So yeah, thank you all so much for coming.